What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Luis King Kong Ortiz. Luis King Kong Ortiz states that after the Wilder loss, forget franchise, just call me champ. He later on said this. He said he will be an ex-champion after our fight. Plain and simple. Ortiz 31 won with 26 knockouts, assured BoxingScene.com. People like fellow challenger Dillian Whyte are worried about the WBC vacating the title and making him a franchise champion. What they should be more worried about is facing me once the belt is around my waist. He says everyone can stop worrying about what will happen if he wins, because that's the one thing that won't happen. Promise Ortiz. Forget the franchise champion. Just get ready to call me WBC champion after I beat Deontay Wilder. If the WBC still wants to make a title for Wilder, they can just call him the out of business champion, because the franchise is getting shut down. Those are the words from Luis King Kong Ortiz. And what do I say about that? First of all, I like the confidence in Luis Ortiz. I think that he had a good shot. It was a very good fight last year. I just hope he could harness what he did last year without getting hit with that right hand. You know what I mean? It was a calculated fight. Deontay Wilder just couldn't come in because he was dealing with a counterpuncher, a dangerous counterpuncher, and he did pay the price some of those times in that fight, and he was almost stopped. So it's an intriguing fight to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I think the confidence is really coming off the latest shock defeat from Anthony Joshua by the hands of Andy Ruiz, being the first Mexican, heavyweight. And I believe that that's giving encouragement to Luis Ortiz wanting to be the first Cuban heavyweight champion of the world. And that just let everyone know that these things can happen. This is heavyweight boxing. One fight can change the whole fight. Just like that right hook he landed to Wilder and buckled him out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, and the question you ask yourself with that, Luis Ortiz caught this guy with a right hook. I'm not saying Luis Ortiz is heavy-handed, right? Tyson Fury caught him with a left hook. Tyson Fury is known to be a pillow puncher. That's, one of his nicknames, like Canelo, cement feet, Tyson Fury, pillow puncher, him and Jarrell Miller, right? They share those things. And I look at it with doubt, because how good is Deontay Wilder's chin? You know what I mean? Because he got buckled. There was no doubt about it. He got buckled with a punch he did not see, and I know any punch that you don't see can buckle you, and he did not see that right hook. Neither did he see that left hook. I think I think anyone is better by bracing themselves with a fight. But after that fight with Ortiz, he did say, like, hey, I told you he couldn't punch. And I'm like, okay, if you didn't really prove to us that he couldn't punch, you proved to us that you were tough, that you could take that punch, but not to say, oh, that I told you guys he couldn't punch. Because if that's the case, you're taking credibility really away from yourself and your opponent at the same time. So I don't know if people caught that. I just pay attention to what people say, and then of course they mentioned his age or whatnot. But, a lot of people, they are sleeping on this fight. They look at this fight as being a fight that, Deontay Wilder easily wins quicker this time. I think they're trying to compare it to Stiverne, because Stiverne, the first fight, went 12 rounds. First guy that got out of there with, the only survivor that got out of the ring with Deontay Wilder without getting knocked out. And then guess what? He went right back in there and got knocked out. He was killed in the first round, right? So he didn't survive the second time. So a lot of people are looking at it like this because it's a similar thing. Ortiz was younger when he fought him, which was last year, which would be almost 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Well, it'll almost be right on 2 years when they fight. Probably minus 4 months. So what, about 17 months, right? But Luis Ortiz has stayed active. He's had, I think, 3 fights since then? Like Kaufman, Dinu, and Hammer. So, he stayed busy. I think Christian Hammer was a durable opponent. He didn't look good in that fight, but I think that was the particular style. But I will say this, if he gets hit like that from Deontay Wilder, like he got hit with Christian Hammer, and gave him that nosebleed, it's going to be the similar thing. And I think Deontay Wilder really wants to get him out of there quicker. I think he's pressured to do a better job than he did before, because I think he thinks about that 7th round and he probably criticizes himself like, you know what, I really could have got this guy out of there quicker. And I think that's what he's going to try to do. Now, that's dangerous if he's trying to rush a knockout. But then again, the thing about Deontay Wilder is he has that power. He has the equalizer. So if he does hit you, he can end your night. He can do that. But I will say this about Ortiz. Ortiz is tough, by his own admission, because he took those punches. Yes, he was saved in the 5th round, but that wasn't the only right that he got hit with. He got hit on top of the head, to the temple of the head, to the face, nose. He was hit with that right. I don't know how flush they were, but they definitely landed. Okay, so you have to give Luis Ortiz some credit, but I do like how he sums this all up. Don't even worry about the franchise champion. You got to worry about me when I get that belt, because as of now, no franchise position has been made for Deontay Wilder. Not to say that won't happen, but Luis Ortiz was like, fine, you know what I mean? You can call him whatever you want. The fact is, he has a fight with Deontay Wilder. So regardless if they move him to franchise champion or not, or make him an honorary champion or whatever that title is supposed to be, it wouldn't really matter, because if Luis Ortiz beats Deontay Wilder, he will take that belt, and someone has to get that WBC belt anyway, right? It's not like Canelo and Charlo. Charlo didn't have a fight with Canelo to prove who was the best. They just done that out of the blue before a fight was established. Canelo doesn't even have a opponent yet. So, they just did that out of thin air. So I don't think that would matter in this case, because he still has to see Ortiz in a rematch. And if Ortiz can upset Wilder, he will be a major player in boxing. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you, I can bet on. Eddie Hearn with Anthony Joshua. That's granted if Anthony Joshua can get out of that and can get past Ruiz this time. That would be a massive fight in America. They would probably want it in the UK, but I think that Al Heyman being, advising Luis Ortiz would want that in America, and that would be a great fight. A lot of people always wanted to see that fight, but it is questionable how many fights does Luis Ortiz really have left at the elite level. That's the thing. He can fight a bunch of guys like he did the last 3 fights, but none of these guys were really on that level that make you think, okay, does these guys have a chance against Luis Ortiz? So it would be spectacular to see. I would love to see that. I would love to see the first Mexican heavyweight champion. And also, I would love to see the first Cuban champion. I wanted that last year. Cuban roots is deep. I think that would be great for boxing, because these guys that were considered 4 or 5 or top 10, now becomes top 3. That's what I love about boxing. the way that things can change in the face of boxing, you know, because it's ever changing. All it takes is air and opportunity. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Luis Ortiz stating, just call him champ. Don't worry about the franchise champion. Don't sleep on me. You know, you guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.